And on their name, put some respect. Yeah. I think it's time for reality check. Yeah, reality check. Gotta get you back on cold. Reality check. For the young and the old. Reality check. Yeah, the heal your soul. Reality check. Get ready for the show.
Spooky. Hey, what's up? What's up?
Hey, Dr. Winters, what's going on?
I don't know. It seems like the hottest thing going on now is the movie Sinners. These people are going crazy over that. I don't know why.
Well, what I've seen is that, it's Black directed, right? Black written, Black produced. So definitely a reason for some people to have their panties in a bunch. But it has been a lot of discussion on my timeline about the movie. I haven't seen it yet. I do want to see it. Maybe I'll see it this weekend. I don't know. What are you trying to watch it, right?
If I watch it, if I can have my grandson find the freebie, I'll watch it. My grandson, he knows where all that good stuff is. He can find it. He can find it. I mean, it's like a quest. It's like a quest, for me. But for him, it's in his it's in his genes. I know, just like I notice little babies. Little babies, I see them. They can get your telephone, and they're pressing the keys in this, and you say, "Damn, hell, they know they're born knowing this stuff."
They're swiping. They know how to do this. I was messing around talking to the minis, and I said, if you were going to show somebody you're on the phone, how would you do it, right? We don't. What is this? They don't even know what this is. They're all like,
"What did they do?
This?" I said, "What is this?"
Oh wow, that is.
But they're not wrong, right? Like, isn't that how we hold our phones? Like, this is. It's so addictive.
So for now, I want to. They'll know what that is.
Yep, this means you're on the phone.
Back in the day, we would have thought that was a karate chop.
Yeah, right. Like, it was blocking our face.
Yeah, but it's just interesting how technology is making so many things happen. So many things that are making people really think more about what's going on today. There's so much emphasis on AI, artificial intelligence, and things like that. It's just unbelievable. But a lot of it is it's still the same old stuff. You still gotta get down and you gotta do the heavy lifting. You gotta do some research. You gotta try to check out some of the information, and that's the thing that you can do. You have to do those things.
That's true.
Yeah.
It makes me think about your visit with my class the other day. They are forward thinking and slow because they're children. They're not going to have, but they will go as fast as you let them go.
Yeah.
They're still talking about Dr. Winters. My minis were so upset. They said, "Is Dr. Winters here yet?" And I said, "He was here for the big kids earlier today. I'm so sorry. I didn't know y'all wanted to come to class."
Well, I was that did make me feel a little. I felt a little weird, and the reason I felt a little weird is that I know that with kids, you can only talk 10, 15 minutes at the most. But if you try to engage them in a conversation past 15 minutes, it's gonna be hard to to settle them down, and they're gonna be all over the place.
Right.
And I was quite impressed, but I wanted really to talk to him about about the importance among the Olmec of children, because see that they have they have this Olmec statue, and this Olmec and this Olmec statue, there's an there's a man, and he's bringing a baby out, and then on the side they have two images. One image is that the one of the Olmecs is talking to the child, and the other image, the child is talking to the adult, and so then it made me think about the fact is that sometimes we ignore the fact that that our students can give us a lot of information. Our students can really help us to grow too. When we think that we should be the only source of knowledge, we feel that we should be the only ones that really discuss these issues. When kids can offer us an understanding of things too. And I that was very interesting. But again, I enjoyed your students and their questions. I wasn't as I meant to be more prepared, but I have an I have another I have another group, and I forgot all about it. That I have another group of people that from England, and we talk about different things, and I was going to be talking to them at the same time, so it was a little bit it was very complicated.
Yeah, you are a wanted man in many spaces and circles.
I'm not that Eve. I'm not that wanted.
No, I'm not lying. They wanted man. Yes, I'm gonna stand on it, and they want to put their mark on your information so bad. They it's like I saw this headline for Carmelo Anthony. It was a YouTube show about how he was rearrested or something like that, and it was a clickbait title because he hadn't been rearrested. He had been moved to like a secure location because he wasn't safe, so he's a wanted man, but he's not a wanted man. I mean, some people want him, and they don't necessarily want to do nice things to him. They want to harm him. So
I don't know. He might, if they're men, he might want to do something to them. I don't know. These people crazy, but anyway.
That's for sure. Well, tonight I wanted to talk about assimilating, because every time we go to this one restaurant, these the people there, they have very strong accents, and they've been here for a very long time. And I'm trying to figure out how to make the math, Dr. Winters, because
what accent is it?
Oh, it's Asian, but some sort of Asian. It's a Japanese restaurant, but I don't know if they're Japanese or not. They do that thing where, it could be Korean, Vietnamese, or whatever, Chinese even. They all look the same. And I'm not a racist. I might be a little bigoted, though.
Let me tell you something. You wouldn't believe this. But when I was going to college, when I was at Illinois, the Asians would like me to be around them because I could tell the difference between the Japanese, Chinese, and Filipinos. And I could tell the difference. They couldn't tell the difference a lot of times.
They're probably so excited.
Yeah, they said, hell, how does Negro can tell the difference between us? Keen eyesight. But the restaurant, that's very interesting in a way. It relates to assimilation. It relates to you trying to bring people together, And
I didn't think about assimilating just in that wholesome aspect, just bringing people together. That's nice. That's real nice.
Well, it does, because see, a lot of times I know that I know my wife and my daughter, they used to like to be restaurant samplers. Me, I like buffets because I want to get a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So, but then a lot of people say, well, that's not really sanitary. That people might put their hands in it, and the kids might do this or that. But I like that. Whereas my wife and my daughter, they were restauranters. They wanted to try new restaurants and all that type of stuff. Say, go and have your fun. I could care less. You know, but maybe because I'm not a good tipper. So you got to be ready to tip. You know, I might like I might want to put down $1. Then my wife said, Come on, pick that up, $5, $6. I think I say I'd say $2 at the most, you know. And so then but see, she's not with me now, so I can you're getting $2.
$2 tip.
Yeah,
Like it.
that ain't nothing.
I was talking with Marie about tipping the other day because Black people always get a bad rap for being bad tippers, but we shouldn't have to tip at all if tipping came from the fact that they weren't paying us livable wages and it was up to us to go above and beyond the actual job that we were doing to get people to give a shit about us doing that job so that they would man, we shouldn't have to tip at all. Just
Years,
pay taxes or any of that stuff. But
it's weird. Years ago, I was doing a lecture in Washington D.C., and so we went to this restaurant, and I forgot the tip. And boy, this guy followed me around. You forgot the tip. You forgot the tip. But I wasn't. But that was back in the day. It was back in the '70s, and I didn't know back then that a lot of times the waiters and stuff didn't really make any money except off tips. I didn't know they didn't get paid. Maybe an hourly rate a lot back in the day.
Right.
At the restaurants, they got paid, through the tips. I didn't know that though back then. And boy, that person, he just looked at me so mean but my wife said, Clyde, what's wrong with you? Tip. But I mean, luckily she was there. She's not with me now, so I don't have to tip $2. I got $2. I got $2.
$2 is more than no dollars. God dang it. Like people, that's crazy. But I mean, I get it. At a buffet, you don't have to tip.
Nope.
That's the person that's clearing the dishes. You're doing all of the work. Like when I go pick up my pizza, right? If I order some Domino's, if I have to go pick it up, why would I put a tip on that? If I had to go do all the work, what am I tipping you for? But then people would say, oh, for the person who made the pizza. Wait a minute, what? Are they not getting a livable wage either? They're doing all this work in the kitchen. Head chef for Domino's makes $2.13 an hour.
Well, they probably make some nice money. I used to eat Dominick's when my kids were little because it was a reasonable price. Now I go to a different pizza place. It's a little higher, and they like to do deep dish and all that type of stuff. I like regular pizza. Sometimes deep dish is okay, but I can't eat as much as I used to eat, so that's kind of bad.
Yeah.
I used to give me a deep dish, give me two. I want two.
That's a Chicago staple, right? Deep dish pizza.
Oh yeah, a lot of cheese, and then I put in some pepperoni and all that type of mess, and ground beef. And see, I didn't eat pork. I had stopped eating pork, so that was kind of hard back in the day,
So wait, is that a white people Chicago staple or a Black people Chicago staple? Deep dish pizza. Where's that?
That would be in a sense. I would probably say white people. Black people here are kind of weird, because we got two different cultures. We got a South Side culture, then we got a West Side culture. We always see the West Side people as kind of country, and the South Side people, we see them as more cosmopolitan. So it's it's probably wrong because see everybody is everybody. But again, in a sense, it's just the things. I remember I was going to this casino, my social club. I was going to this casino near the airport, and when I was going to the casino near the airport, damn, Somehow I ended up in the Twilight Zone because I did not I I did not know that there was still really bad slums on the
Mm,
west side of Chicago. Really bad. I mean that neighborhood, woo, it was tore up, you know. And
mm,
it was really it was like I said, damn, that's what we fought to get out of. I mean, but I grew up on the south side, so you know. I
mhm.
said we wanted to get out of those slums and all that. Look at that. It was only a couple of blocks, but it was on the west side. But it was weird to me because this is I said this is 2025. What's going on here? You know, but
Right.
I said it's still slums, but again, you know, people have different attitudes. You know, I know during the pandemic, you know, some Spanish gangs they beat up a old black lady. So then, you know, the brothers from the south side went over to the west side and shot the gang leader. So it was no more messing with the black ladies trying to get to work.
Hey, look, that's a hell of a message. And
It
you
is.
don't see that being talked about the way that you would think it would be talked about for
Well,
more.
it's very complicated because see, there's still a lot of murders. I think some of the shooting I think is white people that come up here to hunt. Then there's still a lot of angry brothers and sisters, you know. And then still a lot of people you go to the club and you know and you step on their shoes and they want to shoot you later. It's the mean people out there, and when they get a gun,
Yeah.
that's it, you know.
I don't know. I think that what I've learned is that people take their bad behavior and they bring it with them here. And then when we go other places, we are trying to be on our best behavior. I mean,
Mm.
we're not trying to ruffle no feathers. We're not trying to step on any toes. If anything, we're trying to make things better. And then we find out that, the locals really don't rock with us the same way. I saw it's a lady who's on is her name Dr. Mumby? Do you know who I'm talking about? And
I've seen a couple of her videos, but go ahead.
she got taken or almost taken. She was like kidnapped or almost kidnapped. It
What?
was real fucking. Let me see if I can find the video.
She's almost kidnapped.
Yes, she went to. Well, I'm gonna find it. She went to some some video. Let me slow down.
A
She went
conference?
to some conference, right, where it was. I guess they've been asking her to come for a while, and they finally she said yes, and it ended up being like a a ruse to get her
Yeah.
and get her taken. And hold on, let me see if I can find it.
You know,
I was floored about this.
that almost happened to me about 7, 8 years ago. They were talking about they wanted to have some sort of special conference on the Olmecs and stuff, but I didn't feel right about it, so I didn't show up. And I later found out that group didn't even really exist, you know.
See,
So
that's crazy. I think I have it down there if you want to pull it up for the audience, for the family. Look, y'all, I don't know if y'all have seen Dr. Mumby's videos before.
Battered, bruised, and burnt, but still standing. Dr. Mumbi Saraki has finally spoken after her mysterious disappearance. But what really happened? Who took her and why? Stay tuned as we break down everything you need to know about this shocking ordeal and the rising wave of abductions in Kenya. Dr. Mumbi Saraki is no stranger.
No, I'm sorry, y'all. I can't. Dr. Mumby is speaking on it herself. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Oh, sugar.
yeah, look at all those injuries that she got from that
Look,
too.
right? Y'all saw her head? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, but you talk about the wrong people. You know, my wife I used to be doing lectures. My wife would say, "Those people want to kill you, Clyde." I say, "Why?" Just giving a lecture. I was giving a lecture once years ago, and I was just talking about, black people using Africans using their own technology to develop their agricultural production. And she said, "There's people back there talking about they want to kill you and stuff." I said, "I don't know. Black people want to kill people, period." But anyway, let's see what they got to say.
Yeah, this I have her speaking on it.
King's family, thank you. Thank you for standing with me. Thank you for being even worried about me. And thank you for caring. Thank you for all the love you've shared. A week ago, I went through a crazy spiritual attack. It is something that I had seen happening 3 weeks before it happened, but I didn't know exactly how it was going to manifest. I had actually been invited to Nairobi for a Pan-Africanist award. And I was warned, by our fellow activists that sounded like a Gava plot. So I canceled that plan. But last Friday, a friend called me to go to Mombasa. And many things happened. A lot of the things that people are saying didn't happen, family. I was not taken by Nabi and his people, although I came this close. So a random friend invited me to go to Mombasa for my sherehes. At some point, something was put in my drink or in his drink or in both our drinks. Because the next thing I remember waking up is being pulled out of a car in Mukundu on the new highway. And this is where it started to get strange because they wanted to take me to a hospital that was way out, like a Gava hospital called in an area called Nsambweni. And somehow, family, my friends heard I'd been in an accident. And they got to me before the taxi was supposed to take me to Nsambweni Hospital or that area. I'm so grateful for Katia and Kenya. So grateful for you guys. So much has been happening, family. I had an extremely bad concussion, but Nabi's freaking dirty people did not get their hands on me. They were this close. Thank you for standing with me in prayer.
Yeah, prayer is important, because like I said, I'd be giving lectures back in the day, and my wife would say, "Those people want to kill you.
They want to kill you, Clyde."
Just talking about using traditional technology. This was back in the day, But the thing is, this is that that's why I know God exists. I know God exists because in 1967, I got shot at and bullets whizzing past me and stuff, and they hitting the concrete. And then, a so-called friend of mine, Jay Hop. So what happened? We was walking, and so these guys came up, and so then they said, D-Dang. And then I said, James, I said, Hopper. His name was James. I said, Hopper, don't say nothing. They said, D-Dang. And then he said, D-Dang. And they had on long coats. And next thing you know, they went down and they came up with shotguns.
The hell?
Mighty Blackstone. Pow, 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 pow. He got shot in the back. But I only had the bullets flying past my head and stuff like that. Yes, he got shot in the
not
back.
to say nothing.
Yeah, but see, he wanted to be smart, and I had so many guns. I had a couple of times people would, you're gonna join the Disciples Blackstone, whatever. I said, no, man, I'm not gonna join. I can't really join because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be a lawyer. When I come back, I'm gonna be a lawyer. I'm gonna get you out of jail, make sure you don't have to go. I could talk some ish back then,
I love that story. That is one of my favorite stories of your past.
Yeah, because see, My father taught me how to box, but by the time you got to fifth grade, I never get out in fifth grade. And this guy wanted to fight me. So when we was out there, I was whooping his ass. And then next thing he grabbed a bottle and he broke it. And I said, what is this? You know, what is this? You know, till I was 35, 34, 35, I always wore a jacket in the summer. It was real hot, but I always wore a jacket because I was going to always wore a jacket just in case I had to wrap the jacket around, you know, around my arm, you know, in case I had to block some knife fight. I only had one knife fight, and that was I was on a construction job, you know, and this guy, he wanted to knife me going up the escalators. And then this is the weirdest thing though. You know, I was standing at the bus stop, you know, and I don't remember why I was at the bus stop because I had a car, but I was standing at the bus stop. And so around that time, people would jump out of their cars and they would rob people at the bus stop.
Oh, shit.
So I was standing at the bus stop. So this guy, he jumped out of the car. I was standing on the little platforms that they have. This guy jumped out his car, and then he came over and you know, and I was standing straight up. I swear to God, I did not sidestep, but my body moved out the way. I don't know what he saw because his eyes was wide open because he tried to stab me. And he just looked. And he said, you know, so I mean, damn. So, I mean, you know, I mean, I don't know about girls, you know. And then, you know, we was talking the other day, me and my sons and stuff. You know, we usually talk, you know, usually once a week we usually talk. And so we was talking, and then they were bringing up the times they had to. I said, fellas, why is it when you black, you always got to be ready to fight? Always got to be ready to fight. And it was weird because they had their experiences too, you know. Because I know one of my sons, he decided he was going to go to the wild side, so he moved to the west side, you know, after he got grown and stuff. A couple of times, you know, he came over to the house, and I'll be trying to go to his car, and then he'll let down the window, all that reefer smoke would come out. Damn, you know. And then he said he got so bad that he peed on the church. And he said after that, he said he started having bad luck. Said he was on the train and some guy said, "Hey man, you look like the type person that could make a good hitman. You want to work for me?" And he said, "Damn, why these people want me to be a hitman?" And he started saying, but he started saying maybe I'm not living my life the way I should live it, you know, because see, a lot of times, you know, you raise your kids a certain way and you hope that they're going to always follow that path. But then they have their own way, their own way to go, you know. I mean, hey, it's complicated. It's complicated out there, you know.
No,
So,
that's kind of like about at least my correlation. Every time I think about assimilating, especially now with the 14th Amendment being the talk of the town and people saying that the Constitution is racist. It's not that we were saying the Constitution was racist and written by some racists, but now that it's not inclusive of everybody else, well, now it's super racist and we need to do something about it. And it's like assimilating and people are making asses out of everybody involved. You know that saying about assuming, it makes an ass out of you and me. And I don't know, it's a lot of asses out here.
The Constitution is a wonderful document. You know, we the people of the United States want to form a more perfect union, provide for the common defense. You know, you had to learn the preamble so you could, you know, that was the Constitution test. You know, knowing the preamble. And back in the day. And so then, but the thing is, this is that the 14th, you know, the 12th through 14th 16th Amendment. Those are our amendments. Those amendments, in a sense, are amendments that relate to us.
Right.
And the thing is, this is that, the beauty of it is that prior to my own research, we were taught we were taught these myths. These myths in the sense that the white man gave us freedom, and that because of the fact that the white man, some sympathetic abolitionists in the North, no, we got our freedom because a lot of the white troops deserted the North, and then they had to bring in 200,000 black people. It was 200,000 2,000 Army, another 10 to 20,000 Navy, and then you had 200,000 that were support people that would come along and just clean up stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so then and so we fought for our freedom. See, this is the thing. They had me thinking for years until I did my own research. They had me thinking that they gave us freedom. They didn't give us ish. They've never given us nothing. You see, they've never given us nothing. Is that we had to fight for that. And if we wouldn't have really fought, if we wouldn't have really, when those white people started deserting, if we wouldn't have really joined the Army, we wouldn't have got anywhere. But the whole point is that we're always betrayed. We're always betrayed. But see, here's the thing that makes it really, really weird, is that every time white people want to push us back, somehow we end up being seven steps ahead. See, it's just like now when they started. Remember, they had the big thing and they were talking about the segregation,
Mm-hmm.
and then a lot of people started saying, "Hey, why are you FBAs? Why aren't you FBAs upset about immigrants being sent back to Latin America?"
Right.
And then black people started a lot of it was funny, like a couple of them had a sister about to get out, about to get out, go back down, and she jumped back in the bed, cover her head, and so then and it's that everybody want us to fight for them because see, it's like they said though, is that people do not take a protest. They do not take a protest serious if we're not involved in it. That doesn't mean that we have to start throwing bricks. Or a lot of times it's white folks who brought the bricks to the during the pandemic. They're the ones who brought the bricks.
Right.
And in fact, if you remember, they were the ones who set fire to that to some of those businesses. Doing the the George Floyd stuff. And so then, but the thing is, this is that they wanted us to get upset, and there, in this tether mind, and when I'm talking about tethers, I'm not talking about all black people or immigrants to America. I'm talking about those black people who come from Africa and the Caribbean, but they don't like FBA people. They're against us. They're trying to fight and keep us from getting our reparations. Like that. Those are tethers. So don't get it twisted. I'm not talking about all people who are immigrants. I'm only talking about those immigrants who are anti-FBA.
Right.
And so the thing is, this is that, they wanted us to get upset. You going there? No, I'm not going no damn where. I'm a citizen.
That part.
I'm not going nowhere. And yes, you came here. You have some children. Maybe your child is a citizen. Maybe. But you came over at 14 and you didn't get the green card. So you got to go, baby. You got to go. I don't give a damn. It's like Sperling now, like Dennis Sperling was saying the other day. We benefit from them being kicked out the country. You know what I mean? Because those are jobs that we could get. I never forget that when I was a kid, you could go to a construction site and you just say, hey, I want a job. And then you could get a job as a black guy. Now on construction sites, a lot of times the only people working there are Latinos and stuff.
Right.
And because they don't really want to give us that type of opportunity. A lot of times, in a sense, it's kind of sad, but you want to get your house fixed up. A lot of times, instead of, it's not a lot of black people. So a lot of times you got to call Latinos, but now sadly, a lot of them don't want to come out to your house because they're afraid if they come to your house, they're going to be picked. Guys, get back home. Yeah, take your ass back home.
all the work ethic is so much work ethic that they say is missing from us, but then they won't hire us. We get told that we're the laziest people, but then all of these other people, I'm sorry, I don't think I've ever really seen a construction site that has a bunch of people who don't look like they speak English and they're all working. I've seen more of them laying around, just kind of there.
No, because see,
No work is happening at all
well,
in
my father,
fashion for them to have so much traffic backed up. But go ahead.
my father told me, he said, Clyde, you see that stick over there? I said, yeah, yeah, Daddy. He said, whenever work slows down, you go and find a stick and you walk around with it. What do you mean, Pops? I mean, I'm ready to go, He said, take that stick and just walk around, da da da, and they'll think you're doing something. But construction isn't like it used to. A lot of the construction, a lot of it is that they have to a lot of it they had the panels already. And so a lot of times they putting panels up. The only people really doing any type of work is mainly the steel people, the ones who connect in the girders. But a lot of these things don't need girders anymore. They did an Amazon factory. They put it up, and a lot of times they have these partitions. Yeah, when a hurricane comes, they usually collapse. But if it's not a hurricane, they're okay. But most of the time they collapse when the hurricane comes because they put all these panels up. But again, in a sense, it's just interesting. But it's they say it's jobs that we won't take. These are jobs we would take if we had to do it. I mean, when I was I was teaching over the summer, I would always do construction work, with my father and stuff like that because it was an opportunity. It was an opportunity. But now, in the sense, is that so it's just like now. I mean, hey, a lot of those jobs that they're giving to the Latinos and other immigrant people, they're giving it to them. Like they brought a lot of Ukrainians over here, and they're getting aid and stuff, and just about I see these Spanish people at the gas station, and then my grandson, I said, I haven't been seeing too many Latinos at first. My grandson, come on, granddad, stop it. I said, well, it do look like it's more of them around, and they're driving in new cars and new trucks and so hablas español. No, me no speak no English. Me no speak no English, but you got a damn new car, a new truck. How the hell you get a new car, a new truck? You can't speak English, but you made that money. No, they gave you that. They gave you that. Biden gave you that food stamp card that had cash on it too. And I mean hell, and so, but it's now in a sense now that that's the only reason why a lot of people like the Orange Man is that the Orange Man they feel is going to be deft on putting people out. No, I'm not so interested in trying to hurt people. I don't want people to be hurt, but at the same time, in a sense, we do need opportunities.
You talk about Biden and the Orange Man.
Tsunami for Biden's legacy. His own friends and colleagues cashed in their confessions to several authors. And this entire time has been staying quiet in the basement until today in Chicago, when Biden spoke for the first time since leaving the White House. And in typical Biden fashion, he was more than an hour late and got off to a rough start.
Thank you. We deserve help and paid for most of it.
After that, it was some of the greatest hits.
That's what you're all about. That's what the legislation is about. It's about dignity, simple dignity. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity. By the way, those 300-year-old folk getting that Social Security, I want to meet them because I like to figure out how they live that. Hell of a thing, man. I'm looking for longevity. Who in the hell do they think they are? every 5 years, and then wait around and be. No. I will not go further or get in trouble.
Then Joe took a walk down memory lane.
I'd never seen hardly any black people in Scranton at the time I was only going in 4th grade. And I remember seeing the kids going by at the time called colored kids on a bus going by.
Democrats don't want to be anywhere near Joe. He's like political Ebola. Even when he tries to slam Trump, doesn't slap.
Fewer than 100 days, this new administration has made done so much damage and so much destruction. It's kind of breathtaking it could happen that soon. We can't go on like this as a divided nation, as divided as we are. Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. It's never been this divided. Yeah. Granted, it's roughly 30%, but it's a 30% that has no heart.
Joe's been MIA for months. Most Democrats don't even know where he's been hiding.
But the thing is, this is that if you, I'll never forget when he took the shot.
He went
very
down.
vibrant. He was very vibrant. He was talking. He was really, but when he wanted to show everybody he was taking the shot. After that, he's been incoherent. And because the thing is, this is that, is that they made that to try to get us. But then I went to ChatGPT a few weeks ago. I don't think I really did a video on this. I went to ChatGPT a few weeks ago and I said, how many black people died during the pandemic? I didn't say pandemic. I said the epidemic. COVID, because I just say pandemic for us. And so then I said, how many of those people were? How many people had comortalities?
Right.
And then, I mean, damn, the majority.
You gotta ask the right questions. That's
right.
The kicker.
Yeah.
And most people, I guess they're cool with the surface understanding, and even if the surface understanding doesn't make sense, it's because somebody on the news told you, or somebody with letters behind their name told you. And then it's so funny. After you spoke to the students, right? Me and Malimu were talking to the students about your conversation with them, and it kept going back to, they don't challenge you directly. They like to talk shit around you.
But they're not going to challenge you.
But they don't challenge you directly because
you get to respond. You get to respond. It's just like a fist fight. If my father always told me is that is that turn the other cheek, and what he meant was that when that fist is coming this way, you turn that
cheek so you don't get hit.
That's how you turn the other cheek, baby. You're not turning the cheek. Oh, hit me right. Hell no. I'm moving that. I'm moving them. Bam, bam, bam. I mean, now if I go bam, bam, I'm looking at the floor. But back in the day.
But I've even had a deeper understanding of that one saying about turn the other cheek, and people, y'all, we are not asking enough questions. We're not asking the right questions.
Right.
And we're not sitting still enough to get the answer. If y'all ever grew up in the church, and I know a lot of y'all grew up in the church, it's the silence that you're supposed to be hearing God speak, right? But then we're not quiet enough to get a response. So then maybe you turn into this fake believer. Not that you don't have some foundation of belief, but you're taking the cake out before it's done. It looks done, but then you didn't stick the spaghetti in to see if it came out with some cake on it or not, or the toothpick or whatever you use. I use a spaghetti. You might use a toothpick. I don't know, but you got it. If you didn't do that part and it looked done and then it wasn't done, well, shame on you for not doing enough research.
But you hate to do that. You you hate to put a hole in the cake or the pie.
You do hate to put a
You
hole
know,
in the
because
cake.
it's looking real pretty, but then if you don't do that, sometimes you'll take it out too soon, and then you got to put it back in anyway.
That's
And
right.
you already cut it, so
That's
so
right.
it's best to just test it before
Just
you take it
test
out.
it. I mean,
I don't like that. I don't like it. I like pretty women, and I like pretty food. I like my favorite colors for my food is red and green. I try to mix them up, and then when I look at that plate,
nice and
maybe
balanced.
maybe those are Christmas colors too, right? Red and green.
Yeah,
So then,
yeah, Christmas
and
colors.
so but I never like. I remember when I became a Muslim, and I said, will you be a Muslim too? She said, I don't know. She said, okay, but as long as I can still have Christmas, as long as we still have Christmas, I'll be a Muslim mom. I said, okay. Because she wanted to have her Christmas, so the kids and her and all, they could all, around Christmas, they'd be making cookies and all that. We'll eat up all the cookies. They'd cook them a week ahead. We'd be ate up all the cookies, had to cook some more. But I mean, hey, they used to be fun. And then, my wife, a lot of times, my baby doll, they used to, have little games, play little games, thinking games, thoughtful games, who could remember commercials, all that type of ish. And so then that's the beauty. Sometimes I envy. I used to envy. I envy you. I envy you and your relationship that you can get with the kiddos. Because see, mom can have a different relationship, because I found that kids don't really need me. They don't really need a man until they get to be teenagers. Then they got questions, and then there's things they want to know, and you can maybe help them. Maybe you teach them how to fight too,
Right.
but they have questions. But really, in a sense, until a child becomes a teenager or an adolescent, they don't really think about their own man. They don't really have anything. I mean, you're okay, and oh, there's pops, okay. But it's when they become teenagers and they have the questions, then you can become a part of their life, and you can, in a sense, maybe begin to influence them. You be influencing them as they grow up, but the greater emphasis, and they seem to relate better to their moms until they get to be teenagers. Because then when they get to be teenagers, they say, oh, maybe that old man got something that he could tell me. I don't know.
Maybe he got something to say.
Yeah.
I think that that's something that my generation is trying to fix. You've got people out here gentle parenting, whatever that means. We've got crunchy parents, and then something that's not a crunchy parent that I don't know.
What is a crunchy? What are those? A crunchy parent?
It's like, hold on, I just learned about this the other day, but it's apparently a crunchy parent is like a natural parenting style where you are health conscious, environmentally conscious. Somebody called me a crunchy parent the other day because I make their food from scratch. I don't do a lot of processed foods, but I don't know that I'd ever called myself a crunchy parent. Like, just news to me. But and I don't know that I'm 100% crunchy versus the opposite, which is silky.
But I think that when my wife was around, I ate much better because she cooked better meals than me. Because I want to do something fast. Damn, I'm gonna go back Kentucky Fried Popeyes. I don't know when the last.
That makes you silky. You're a silky parent.
What parent?
Silky.
Yeah, well, I'm a silky parent then, because when my wife was alive, I would cook chicken, cook fish, all that type of ish. And like today, I made some spaghetti and meatballs and all that type of mess and stuff. And but it's just that I had a real boring diet, because I would just say, hey, I want to eat some meat and stuff. I want to eat some meat. And back in the day, I said we had to feed the kids meat so that they could have a little viciousness in them. Oh yeah. You can't raise your kids as vegetarian if they're boys and you think they're going to go out there and fight the white man. Hell no. They're going to go out there.
Soy away.
Hey, wait a minute. Put your head down. Yep. How old are they? Yeah, Pop. You will, Pop. Okay, no, yeah. No, I always, I don't know, I was silly like that, but I felt that two things. I felt that I had to kiss my sons, and because we mainly had boys. I had five boys and one girl, so we mainly had boys. So I wanted to kiss them. I kiss them on the cheek, hug them, because I want them, because they said that a lot of boys that become gay is because their fathers didn't spend time with them. I said that they're not my boys ain't ready to say that I didn't spend time with their asses. No, 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 they gonna know that I was there, baby. You know, and it's kind of interesting. But I was talking to my sons last week, and we were talking about something, and I just said, it wasn't nothing in particular, but I started saying, you know, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, and number two, I saw things different. I didn't see what they saw when they were growing up. I didn't see what they saw, because I was really surprised when my third son, I said, yeah, blah blah blah, and I said, well, I got to go now, and I said, well, catch y'all later. He said, well, that's the thing. He said when we were younger, he said all you used to mainly do is be doing research and stuff. And so then they said maybe Mama had to, maybe we wish Mama wouldn't have died, but maybe Mama had to die so that you could spend time with us, because you didn't really spend too much time with us. She was always doing research. And I said, oh wow, what? Well, I saw things different. No, you don't. As a man, we see things different. We see things different, but at the same time, is what we saw really correct? I don't know. Sometimes if what we saw is really correct.
I think that there's something to be said about showing some love to your sons so that they don't be
the battlefield when I get drafted for World War III. So you guys, these are so World War III vibes, and they are just some camo dickies. I think these are gonna look so cute when I'm running through the trenches on the battlefield. So the next thing I'm gonna change into is this Nike t-shirt, and it's the perfect camo green color, especially for the battlefield. And it does have the Nike logo on it, so I think it's gonna give me like extra strength and power, because Nike is like so like running and like powerful. Like I feel like it's very sports vibe, so I feel like the Nike logo is definitely gonna give me some like extra superpower strength. So let's put this on. Okay, I have my t-shirt on, and I feel like this is giving such World War III vibes already. So when I'm barrel rolling through the barbed wire in the trenches on the battlefield, I definitely want a good pair of shoes, and I think these Jordan 1 Mochas are gonna look so cute for my war fit. OMG, you guys, these are so cute. So next, I really want a good fragrance, because the enemies just might want to, like, I don't know, spare me or something if I smell good. So I'm going to be wearing this Mugler Aura perfume, and I'm going to drench myself in this because it smells so good. So I definitely want to wear a little makeup on the battlefield just to add that like extra cuteness. So I'm going to go in with this green eyeshadow, and I'm going to do like a green liner. Okay, you guys, so I finished my battlefield eyeliner, and I think it came out so good. It's giving me very, like, utopian Hunger Games vibes, Capital vibes. And lastly, to pair my battlefield look, I'm going to bring this green bag to store my weapons. So all my weapons are going to go in here, and so when someone tries me on the World War III battlefield, I will pull it out, and I will attack.
Wow, that is sad. That is sad. I'm sorry. I wanted my sons to be on the battlefield with an M16, a BAR, Browning automatic rifle. That's what the hell I wanted. That's what I wanted my sons to be. I am so happy I didn't have that problem.
Yo, that's too much. In my analogy, children are plants, and if you get too much sun or too much water, it's still gonna grow. It's just not going to do the things it's supposed to do the way it's supposed to do them. And that boys talking about war makes sense. Boys talking about battle makes sense. Boys because they might
Yeah.
want to spare me. Why would they want to spare you? What are we talking
I
about?
know, Helen, and I mean, he talking about hand-to-hand combat. Oh, don't hurt me, but create so far. I said yes. I had to spend mucho time with my little brother to make sure he turned out right. Years later, I got catcalled by a thirsty gay black male while walking past New York University College. Yeah, that can happen, But I mean, the whole point is this: is that what can you do? I remember back in the day, when I used to, one day I had some that happened to me when I was about 18, 19. And then the more I thought about it as I walked, because I was walking home, I was walking from the L station home, I got madder and madder. I said, I just wish he would get out. I wish he would come back and get out the car and beat the because I got, what the hell what is the hell is he talking to me for?
Right. What type of vibes were you putting out there that made him think it was okay? Because
that's what I thought. But the thing is, this is that, they just shoot. He was probably just shooting his shot.
Shooting a shot.
But he didn't know he was going to get an ass whooping, But I don't know. It's just like
is deadly.
It's like the Carmelo thing, and he was at the track meet and he pulled out the knife and you know what I mean. Sometimes people are scared. We had a track meet at Inglewood High School. Now, if you ever went to Chicago, if you ever got on I-57, if you ever got on I-57 around 57th Street, you see where the what we call the L, that's the electric train. The electric train goes over the Dan Ryan Expressway. It goes over the Dan Ryan Expressway. In 1968, we had a track meet there, and the coach, we didn't rent a bus. We went on public transportation. Oh, wow. So we had to go up to the train station next to Inglewood High School, and these guys came up that chased us. And do you know we walked over the L tracks over Dan Ryan? Now I said that was the stupidest thing. That was the stupidest thing. We could have fell down 200 or 300 feet onto the expressway, but we were running. We could have got electrocuted by the third rail, but we were scared. We were scared. So we ran across the thing, and they didn't chase us. They were smart. They said, if y'all that scared, y'all go ahead and run. But I mean, damn, that was the craziest thing that ever happened. One of the craziest things that happened in my life. I had a lot of crazy stuff, but that was the craziest thing because But I don't remember looking down. I just remember trying to hurry up and get to 59th Street, and we're up over there. If you ever go to Chicago, you'll see where the electric train goes over to Dan Ryan, and So I don't know. It's just I don't know. I don't know.
That's kind of beautiful because we have it. I think there's a specific group of melanated people on this land that have these near-death experiences. And, we live to tell the tale. And then other people might have a similar type near-death experience, but then they don't live to tell the tale. And when you're talking to me, or when you're talking right now about just running and not looking at where you're going, just knowing that threat behind you was more pressing than anything else. I think I told you about it. I watched this video of alligator attacks, and this guy is running away from the police at this resort, and it's like well known to everybody that there is an alligator in this pond. Everybody knows it, and there's signs up everywhere, but this guy did not want to get got by the cops who were chasing him, so he jumps into the water and he's swimming. And I want to say the gator's name is Poncho. So Poncho's like, hell yeah, like what? There's a person? Shit, let me go. So swimming to him. The cops are not chasing him anymore, and they're like, get out of the water. And people at the shore, get out of the water. Poncho's coming. And the man is just like, oh yes, cops aren't chasing me no more. I'm so close to freedom. And I want to say that the narrator really got me, y'all. The narrator had Poncho's emotions. The man, he had everything down pat. I'm like, were you there? Like, you just know what everybody's thinking. But no, the man makes it like this close to freedom, and Poncho gets his ass and then like takes him down and away, like far away. Like Poncho's like, look, I know y'all probably didn't mean for this to happen, but I'm gonna just go ahead and take care of this for y'all. You won't worry about me for a couple of days.
Yeah, you won't see me for a while. I'll be resting.
For a
I'll be
while.
resting with a big tummy. But I don't know. But
That man didn't make it though, Dr. Winters. He wasn't worried about it. He said
But
that threat behind him was more pressing than anything else.
But I had so many guns stuck in my face, shot at, and I mean, that's why I know God exists, because I'm not supposed to be here, because I know God exists. Because see, I know if it wasn't a God, I would have died many a time in them streets. Bloody Halloween of 1967, they were just shooting all over the place. And I was out that night. It was a girl down the street. She was supposed to was free-hearted, but she wasn't going to be free-hearted with me, I tell you that. So I went down there for nothing. So we went down there for nothing, in a sense. And so then when we came back, and then these guys, I tell you about it, the gun, and then they said the gang name. My friend said the wrong gang name, and then the shotgun.
Did he die?
No, he didn't die.
Oh,
He might be still alive somewhere,
okay.
He got mad at me later because I liked his sister, and he's afraid I was going to have sex with his sister, I guess. But I mean, so later we stopped hanging out. But at that time, we was kind of, we were kind of buddies and stuff.
No, I think y'all he kept remembering, Clyde told me not to say nothing. Damn it, Clyde. Fuck you know everything for. Like, he said he's trying to be smart. Got shot. Clyde didn't get shot.
No, I didn't get shot. And he beat me around the corner, but he fell down later, but he beat me around the corner. And then we was playing basketball one night. We was at Revis High School. And so this guy named Lloyd, he went up to take a shot, said, Blackstone, mighty, mighty stone, pow, pow, pow. And they shot him. They shot him right while he was shooting the basketball. So I don't know. It's that's one of the few people. I only saw 2 people die.
So what is that? They were trying to, okay, because y'all tonight.
I lived in a Neutron. I lived in a Neutron neighborhood, and they were trying to recruit you.
Right.
Then they'll recruit you by saying, if you don't join, we're gonna shoot you, whatever, Most people join gangs for protection, I always had a strong faith in God. I always felt that I wasn't going to die until my time. And I always felt I could talk ish. I could talk ish real good. And so then I just, but I got shot at a few times and stuff. But I mean, hey, guns in my face. I just want, like one time this guy put a gun in my face. I said, you better shoot me, but if you miss, I'm going to fuck you up. Beat the shit out of your ass. I said, so you better make sure you don't miss. And so then, so that happened to my son later, and he said this guy put a gun on him, and he said the guy pulled the trigger twice, and nothing came out, and then he said that the guy he said he just slumped over, with the gun, and then he was messing with my main son who liked to fight, and then my son put the imprint of concrete in his ass because he kept beating him up, and then the people had to pull him off of him, He was a pretty mean son, but he probably didn't calm down now. But back then I was coming home one day, coming around the corner from Jules. Jules used to be only a couple of blocks away. So I would sometimes walk to Jules and get groceries. So I was coming back, and then and Lonnie, I guess he had gotten in a fight with somebody. He's beating him. I said, get off of him, man. But he hit me. you know. So I don't know. I don't know. Like talking to my sons last week, and they said, "Pops, you just didn't understand." I mean, damn, you're in a middle class neighborhood. You're not in the. We wasn't in the low end. That's what you call the rough part of Chicago. We wasn't in the low end. We was in the middle class. People buying their homes. You would think it wouldn't be gang bang. It was gang banging everywhere back then. I'll be going to my car sometime. What up, folks? I'm 40 years old. What up, folks? I'm not a disciple. I'm an old Negro about to go to work to take care of my family. What up, folks? Everybody. But see, back then, people in their 50s was out gang banging and stuff.
Look, at least you weren't like this woman.
No! Fuck him up, Anthony. Fuck him up, Anthony. Why you Grip? Why you hitting him? Why the hell you hitting him? Stay the fuck out of the bitch. Anthony, fuck him up. Anthony, fuck him up. Fuck him up. You a grown ass woman. Well, you're
Well, see, her son. See, if her son would have had a father, he would have been like the boy in the white shirt. They would have taught him. His father would have taught him how to fight. When my son got about 5 years old, said, "Hold him up." I said, "I want you to block the punches." Boom, 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 boom. So we did that for about a couple of weeks. Now I said, I want you to, in a sense, punch. Nope. No. Don't put your hands in front of your face. Always put one up, one down. Damn. You had to send him out there to learn how to fight. And my daughter, she's a police officer now today, and so I don't know what my wife was teaching her. But I've never get her boyfriend she had back in the day. He got smart with her. Next thing I said, "Get off of him. Get over." Had him in a chokehold. Get off of him. Hell, they didn't. I hate to say they didn't last, but get off of him, baby. Come on now, don't.
See, and look, that's you being a responsible parent. You weren't out there egging it on. Whoop his ass, Trevor. Get him. What? And man, it's a lot of people crashing out. And I had a question for y'all, for the audience, about my topic. And I mean, we've been talking about it. We've been talking around it. So I know we have leveled conversations. You guys need to hit the playback on these conversations so that you get the full depth of what we're really talking about. But it is in the assuming, when we're blinding, accepting ideas, behaviors, or narratives, if you are who they think you are, and then you follow through with who they think you are, that might end up with a bullet in the back. I didn't know you were going to give that example tonight, but damn, I mean, trying to be accepted, wanting to be accepted, and then finding out, that's not the right people you were trying to get accepted with, or those people don't want you. That's seems like we're making asses out of ourselves trying to fit in to a place where we don't have to try. Everybody wants to do what we're doing.
That's
chill. Go ahead.
See, that's one of the reasons why that's the problem that a lot of people haven't understood about Black people, is that Black people in FBA have always had a policy of association as opposed to assimilation. In other words, we'll associate with you, but we're not going to assimilate because we know that if we assimilate, we lose. We lose because we know that if we want to be like you, we're going to lose. Because we want to be like you, that means that we're going to be talking proper. And oh, John, don't fight, and then people getting their ass whooped, And so then that's the whole point, So you got to do this, but it is sad. It is sad, and so I understand how Tethers and other people from the immigrant community can understand why we're always about fighting, because we know that in a sense is that we lived in this country. They have a constitution, but we know that because this is a country of laws, then we can make the laws go our way, but then also they can change the laws just like now, how they got the nerve to say that it's discrimination against white people. How they took the 14th Amendment and flipped the script. But that's bullshit. That is bullshit. You know why it's bullshit? Because the congressional record shows that it was made for black people.
Right.
But we don't have a class of rich black people who will support our lawyers. See, that Constitution, the white man, when he made the Constitution, he didn't know that it was a booby trap. But we saw it, and that it is so much in the Constitution that we can make right out of changing shit. Are they making all this flaky shit? Are they going to court? And they're able to do that because we don't have a class of rich people that is paying for us to go to court and fight these laws and get them right. See, get them right. The Black Constitution, 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment, that's the Black Constitution. We could use that for our advantage. Man, they took the damn, they used it so they made corporations in the people. Not corporations, the people, all type of shit.
Right.
Because they took it and they were able to use it. And we never, and it is so sad. Never. I'm gonna be like Anderson, Anderson. Never.
Never.
But the thing is that they called Anderson, he is right. I love him with his never. But the thing is that we had to fight, we had to stand on our business, and we had to be there, Like I remember a few weeks ago, and you started talking about what is scholarship? Where is the scholarship? And then I went to Chat GPT, I put in there, and then my name, I'm one of the few people that still, everybody else is dead except for Asante. And so then you just say, damn, what is this? What is this? Where's some old 74-year-old Negro? He's the only black scholarship in the damn country. Get out of here. But I'm hoping I'm gonna try to keep going.
Keep that hope alive.
I'm gonna keep hope alive and try to put in there. So, but see, we got to put in there some papers. We got to get some other papers. But see, right now, hopefully, when you start writing your papers and publishing them, then we can put your papers in there. But see, it can only go out what's on the internet.
Right.
And we don't do a lot of us don't do really research. We don't write papers. I wrote I published about 200 or 300 of them, but I guess that should be enough. But anyway,
you would think. But that's the thing, you guys, when it comes to the authority on things, especially with regards to scholarship and research, if nobody is replicating or reproducing the work or repeating the experiment or the hypothesis or, reviewing it and trying to go deeper for more understanding, then you will find that we fizzle out. And then all of these other types of thought, while they're not as strong, they have a little bit of truth. And that little bit of truth it'll slingshot them into the future. But a slingshot, it's got that rubber band mechanism, it can pull it back too. And I find that once we pause, when we start asking questions and we sit and get the answer. You know, we're not looking for the fast food or the microwave approach, but we're actually going to the library and going and getting a book or purchasing a book, you know, because some of the information is behind a paywall, and the paywall isn't somebody's website. It's just you need to go buy the book. The libraries don't have it like that.
Right.
You actually
or the magazines or the journals.
right.
Most of your journals, they cost about $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, you know.
Right.
And
And you
and
think about why it costs so much.
but because the fact is that most of the people who do research have grants.
Mm.
And see, whenever you write a grant, you write in the grant, you put in there the unemployment compensation. You put in there the unemployment compensation. You had to put in there Social Security taxes, you know, and then in a sense you put in for the books, you know, your salary, and you know, so that's one of the reasons why I remember is that most of a public school teacher's salary is not what they get paid every couple of weeks. It's the medical, dental, and insurance benefits. That is
right.
that is where the real money is. I mean,
Right.
you can be saying in a sense that okay, she may start at $35,000 a year, maybe. That's kind of a very moderate thing. Let's say you start at 35,000, but when you add on sick days, insurance, all that, you know, she's really making about 80,000.
Mhm.
And then you know, just like, and then if you work long enough, you'll be making 100,000. And then
Right.
everybody will fire you and stuff. And then all of a sudden, nobody remembers what Clyde did. Well, shut up. Anyway. Oh, it does. The longer you work, the more money you make, and then your administrators want to fire you. I'll never forget my last principal. She spent 6 years trying to get rid of me and stuff. 6 years, and then after I retired,
You were making more money than she was. She
Yeah, I was
was
making
signing
more
that check, and it was more than her check, and she was
she was
not
making 50. She was making 50, and I was making 100,000.
like
But see,
100,000.
that's because I had 46 hours, plus I had a master's degree. Then I had another master's degree. Then I had a PhD. That's how I was making the money. A lot of these principals, they get a BA and they get a master's. You have to get a master's, and then they stop.
They stop.
And then because they stop, you know, just like I was looking at the, you know, I get a lot of, because I was part of Chicago Teachers Union, I get a lot of, still get a lot of mail from, you know, from the board. And so they're talking about that the old teachers, they're trying to make sure that they make some money, because it's sad, but some people become teachers and they don't even get a master's degree. They stick with that BA for 30, 40 years. You can't make any money as a teacher.
And you won't make any money as a teacher like that.
No, you won't. And so then that's why they had to pay their money. But again, the sense is that I didn't, you know, don't be mad at me. But I remember when I got out of college, and I was when I was trying to get a job, and then I said, damn, I wish these old people just get out the damn way. My wife said, Clyde, they want a job too. I'm 23. I want my teaching job.
Right.
And and then when you get older and you're making all that money, and then people are wanting to run you off your job, then you say, damn, why they want to get a hold of this money? Why they against you? Then my wife would say, I never get up back then before my wife died. She said, Clyde, them, they want a job. Your old ass, them, they want a job just like you wanted a job. I said, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But you know, you forget when you get in that different age group and stuff like that.
No, it's real. It's just it full circle moment. You know, every time you see a job that an immigrant or a foreigner has, that's just a job that was taken away from us.
Right.
And I want to say specifically, because if it wasn't, then they would have hired some white person.
Yeah,
So
they would have.
hire some white person. They had to go around the goddamn planet and hire someone who don't speak English.
Yeah.
Like, I hate calling customer service for anywhere. And I've made it a point to start asking, are you in America? Oh, where in America are you? Oh, how do you like Jackson, Mississippi? Oh, when did
Just
you get
like
there? Like, what are y'all with your accent and your non-speaking English trying to help me with
just
customer
like
service?
just like all these every East Indian you meet. What do you do? I'm in computer science. I'm in computer programming. What the hell do you I'm sorry, East Indian brother. Your ass is gonna be fucked up. Excuse me. You're gonna be messed up in the future. It's only so many computer jobs. You know, I remember
They're lying, Dr. Winters. Their computer job is customer service for Amazon. Shit.
you got that right.
Okay. Oh, how can they help you, Miss Eve? Oh, okay.
Where are you at? Where are you at? Is it Sunshine where you're at? Let me talk to customer service. I am customer service, but come on, man. Come on, man. This is that. Will you repeat that, please, sir? You repeat it? Can I talk to customer service?
Right.
Customer service.
No, I want someone who speaks English. God damn it! Like, what are we doing?
And then they always then they always want you to talk. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk to the AI. I don't want to talk to them.
Right.
I want to talk to
and
a human
another
being.
job that was taken away. Look, AI, an immigrant who don't speak English.
Yeah.
Those are specific jobs that were taken away from a Black person who wanted
You got that right.
Available, who was competent enough. And CRU in the chat, you made me think about something. I was listening to a 911 call, or a few 911 calls, and that's another job that we're not being able to have the way that we should. We know the area, we know the neighborhood. We should be the ones fielding.
Well, they had it for Illinois. They were suing them for something. It was mainly Black people that was at the 911 offices. But it was only a few whites for the Chicago area. It was interesting to me because I would have imagined it would have been more whites. But see, there's no money in it.
There's no money in it, and then there's all sorts of liability. And for what it's worth, when we talked about it after we were listening to it, me and my man, we were talking about it. It was the common courtesy of it all. The Americans, you could tell they were American. Yeah, they were short and snippy, but it seemed and felt like they cared. The people who don't speak English, who were taking these 911 calls, it's really like they were reading a script. I mean, really, it was like the person's like, I'm bleeding from everywhere. Please send help. Well, okay, let me see.
Do you have a bandage? Do you have a bandage?
Right. I was like, what the hell?
Do you have a bandage? Do you have a concussion? Do you have a concussion? I don't know. That's what I'm calling. I want to talk to a medical person.
I need help.
Do you have a concussion? If you have a concussion, this is what you do. This is what you do if you got a. I don't know if I got a concussion. I just got a real bad headache. I hit my head and I have a real bad headache. Oh, you have had a real bad headache. Give me a moment, please. Hang on the line. Then they get the book. What's wrong with this Negro? I don't know what the hell's wrong with this Negro. 911, 911, 911.
It's not funny, y'all, but it is because these are jobs that are ours. These people are not assimilating, and then we're dying.
Just like ABC got a show 911, and it is so accurate. One sister and everybody else is white. Yes, that's 911. One sister and everybody else at 911 is white. Yes. Oh no, they got a Spanish guy too, but he's married to a white woman. So 911, please. 911. 911. But so the thing is that it's very interesting, and but I do it. It's it is a few more jobs that are coming. Dennis Berlin. I was listening to him the other day, and he was being sarcastic, but like he said, the more y'all gone, the more jobs for us. I mean, hey, as long as y'all got to stay in the house,
I'm saying, look, there are immigration lawyers right now. It's a bunch of channels, y'all. You should check them out. They're telling people how to evade the law.
Yeah.
Ilhan Omar and AOC are telling people how to evade ICE, essentially breaking the law light. It's not a straight up.
And they're telling them, and they're calling them saying, will you please come down to the office? We have your green card ready. So will you please come down to the office? And then when they're getting there, they're arresting them,
Get them out of here.
You got a charge, 7 years ago, you had this order for arrest. Thank you for showing up. Wait a minute. I'm here to get my green card renewed. My green card. No. Remember they sent you a letter 5 years ago saying that you had to leave the country and you didn't leave the country. And then now they got what's the name of this lady? I'm the Secretary of State. If you leave the country now, you can come back.
Mike can come back later. Yeah.
Come back later. But if we catch you, and we will catch you.
And we will catch you.
You're not ever coming back to the United States. And then they showed this Latino. See, I'm back. Don't tell on me, but I'm back. See, I was only gone but I got to watch out because there might be somebody coming out of the store over there. But anyway, I'm back, and he's looking all over the place.
Concerned. Don't tell on me. But yeah, I took a little 3-day vacation. My boss is the CARTEL. We don't want to talk about them. I'm like, and CRU royalty in the chat. I've been seeing the stuff about her being a bartender a few years ago. I don't know.
What was that?
About AOC.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I think she's one of those plants. Obama was a plant. People that just pop up. Jasmine Crockett is a plant. Whatever story that they say is their backstory in the media, I don't think that's their backstory at all. She might have a little bit, but she was doing something else.
There's still there. I live in Chicago. They're still looking for that agency where Obama was supposed to have been working. It didn't exist then, and it didn't exist then, and it never exists
now. Right? This is one of those warehouses that was like, this is the location, but it doesn't look like anybody's been here for some years. There's no desks here, man.
But it's so beautiful that even though Obama was a plant, it's still whenever push comes to shove, whenever they get desperate, they still, even though he was a Tesla, they still got to put a black person in to save them. Like a lot of those corporations, they had black CEOs, and then as soon as they get the company straight, your ass is gone.
Yep.
See ya, don't want to be ya.
Right.
Just like, and so then it's that thing. But they need us, but they don't want us. But see, our culture is innovation. FBA culture is innovation. FBA culture is creativity.
Absolutely.
The whole world operates off our culture. Elijah McCoy with machines, Louis T. Lattimore with the telephone and all that. Granville T. Woods with the telephone. Louis T. Lattimore with the light bulb. But anyway, these three things: machinery from Elijah McCoy, the light bulb, the telephone, and then I forgot the name of the guy who built the resistor. These are the things that run the world. I hear him every day. I like to look at Sean Fu, and he talks a lot about the economy, and they're talking about how look at if you look at YouTube, you see all these beautiful inventions that the Chinese are making, really interesting things. That used to be us. But the thing is, this is that we don't care about that because most of us are going to be a rapper, and I'm going to be rich. even though the way that European plays that joke on us, just like now, just that all your rappers are tethers, they're foreigners,
Mm-hmm.
they're foreigners. The singers are foreigners, the people owning Ebony Jet, the Griot, they're foreigners,
Foreigners, yeah.
It's just that how the European, he always try to laugh at us, but we always have the last laugh.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what he does to try to hold us back. Whenever we do come back, we'd be 7 steps ahead of where we were in the beginning.
That's
And
right.
just think one day when we have a set of lawyers who are being paid on a regular basis by some of the millionaires in this country, we would have even more rights in this country than you would believe. And we could get real justice, but you only get justice. You only get equity. I didn't say in a sense equality. It can never be equality. Some people can walk, some people can't walk. Some people can talk, some people can't talk. Some people can see, some people can't see. So there's never full equality, but we could get equity. And we could get equity by having a team of lawyers that are financed by our black millionaires to fight for those things that we deserve and get true justice and true
That's,
equity. I didn't say nothing about equality, did I? But
mm-mm.
equity and justice.
That's right. I mean, because if anybody is owed, it's us. And if anybody, well, we've never stopped fighting, right? That there's other groups of people, they don't stop fighting either. They get over here and they learn from us. That's like those Asians I was telling you about at the beginning. I believe that they learn from the niggas in the community that they have to, open up shop in. And then, their
Yeah.
fight back is that I'm not gonna learn English. Fuck that language. Y'all are gonna
Speak English
for me.
Yeah.
And you can get a ballot for the president or for whoever in your native language. Just think about that, y'all.
In Illinois is Arabic, Polish, English, and Arabic, Polish, English, and Chinese. You can go to anytime it's an election, you can get a ballot in those 4 languages,
Insanity. Because all of those people should be speaking English if they want to vote. But then they know that they can vote for someone who doesn't even speak English for real. So
right, but it's all a joke. But see, the joke is on them because every time they try to hold us back, we find a way to get around it. But it's only because of the fact that we maintain in a sense a readiness. Like the Black Authority said, we not the Black Authority, but Professor Black always say is that we are at war. It is a war, but the war in a sense is a silent war, but it's a very effective war. But the thing is, this is that I really hate to say this, but I always had to go back to my father, and I said, Daddy-o, we got to turn this mother out. Things ain't going here. He said, calm down, Clyde, calm down, Clyde. There's always progress. He said, there's always progress. Just take time and give it a chance, but you got to keep fighting, but there's always progress. And my father was right. He was right. There is always progress, but it's because of the fact that we continually stay in a fighting posture. You had to stay in a fighting posture because see, whenever you decide to just assimilate, you're going to lose.
That's right. You put them hands down, they come in your face.
That's right. And see, that's why a lot of those tethers, in a sense, that's why they losing money. They're not welcoming them. They're not getting any cash. They're sending their ass back to the Caribbean, sending their ass back to Latin America. Because why? Because see, they played you. They don't like you either.
That part. Look, they might send you somewhere you've never been before.
Yeah. That's right.
And I don't mean like your family's from there, but you're not there. No, the way Trump is sending people to El Salvador is
and they ain't even
period.
You damn from Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, and your ass sitting in El Salvador. You don't even speak the same Spanish, so they know you're not from their country, and so then you messed up.
Messed up when all you had to do was self-deport, or people keep talking about self-deporting as the easy way. The easier way, because there's an easy way and there's an easier way. It's always an easy way and an easier way, or a hard and harder way. But let's go with easy because y'all like semantics. There's the easier way would be for all of these people who are already eating off of us to say that they're eating off of us. Give the credit where it's due. let people know that you wouldn't be here if it weren't for this group of people that's always been ignored, and then push us to the front of the line. Like, that you're ahead of us in the line, and you say, no, let me get out of line, and I'll get behind you. I know my turn's coming, but I know it's not my turn. But y'all won't do that. So then the easier way, since you won't do the easiest way, would just be to speak up. Carry.
Well, CR, you said if you kick someone out the house, does it matter where they go? Yeah, it does, because if you kick them down the house and they just go next door, that's a problem.
Look, you kick them next door to Mexico or Canada, and then there's those issues. They're coming back. They're coming back with a vengeance. But
Yeah.
I get it. It's like at the end of the party, you tell everybody, I don't care where you go, but you need to get the hell up out of here. Like, close for business.
Yeah.
Carry that somewhere else. And I
Yeah.
get that, so.
And see, but it's the last laugh, because the European, he said, hey, we're going to let these people in, and we're going to keep the Negro down. Yeah, you can't keep us down, but all you do is make more competition for yourself. Because see, a lot of them are trying to take your jobs. I had read some videos. I saw some videos where some of the white folks was upset about all these East Indians getting those computer jobs and all that type of stuff. And and so they said we got to put people in their place. But again, we've been talking for a long time. Assimilation, where does it end? Where does it begin? It ends. Assimilation ends when they get through kicking out all these Latinos who thought they had assimilated. That's when it ends. When did it begin? It began when they deluded themselves and thought that they liked them. No, they don't like you. They don't like you. See? And that's the whole problem. Did you want to have a final comment, Eve?
Assimilating, it's gonna make you an ass, and I don't like participating in, activities where I have to call myself an ass. But, while they're kicking people out, I think that it's a beautiful time for us to reclaim what's ours, because then people can't say, well, I'm gonna put a placeholder here. I'm gonna hold my place in line so that when I come back, I can just get there. No, like CR said in the chat, we will do the farming jobs. Just don't pay us in pesos, because
that's right. No peso, no peso,
pesos.
no peso, no peso. Me no black, me no black, me no black.
You better pay me in green. Stop playing with me.
I heard that. Our identity and our culture as Black foundational Americans. Yes, yes. Wars between Black Indians and whites were manufactured to produce Black slaves for whites. The English, the French, and the Dutch provided the Native Americans with guns, rum, and cheap goods to purchase Native American Indian slaves. Between 1670 and 1720, many Black Native Americans were enslaved. The Black Native Americans were sold into slavery throughout the 13 colonies, Mississippi Valley, Canada, and the British West Indies. The majority of Black Native Americans sold into slavery by whites and Indians. Slave traders were the Choctaw, the Yamasee, and other Carolina tribes. Yes, yes. Many of these tribes, like the Mandi, Mandinga, many of these tribes, we've lost their names. And their names have been lost to history because of the fact, in a sense, that when the European came, as he conquered these Black Indians, he just made them slaves. And so over time, in a sense, their nations disappeared. Over time, in a sense, their history wasn't recorded. Over time, they were even able to deny that Aboriginal Blacks even existed in America. They wanted to give our Aboriginal ancestors gifts. And the only problem with the gifts that they gave us was that often these blankets that they gave us carried smallpox. Yes, diseases. They also, in a sense, gave us another gift, rum, fire water. And this rum caused an addiction among us. And in a sense, it led to a demand for guns because it incentivized Indian slave trading. Yes, the first slaves sold in America were Indians, Black Indians, selling other Black Indians to Europeans to work on their cotton, not on their cotton plantations, their tobacco plantations, their rice plantations. Yes, yes, yes. We sold each other over here, just like in Africa, because of the fact that this is that we failed to understand that we are one, we are one, we are one. We should be united based upon our identity and our culture as Black foundational Americans. Yes, yes. Reparations, baby, reparations. We deserve reparations. We deserve reparations like yesterday, not just today. No, not just today. We deserve our reparations. Give us our money, baby. Cut the check.
Cut the check, Black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on code, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. Cut the check, Black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on code, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for.
The only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one. To fight